Like, you haven't. Oh, sorry. At the very beginning of this, sorry, let me take this call that I'm getting right now.
In your crotch.
Actually, it's just alerting me that HQ is starting, which I haven't played in like a year, but still get the alerts for it. Don't mind me, I'm just gonna get instantly taken out of this at question 2. So, you haven't seen the first Wrong Turn, have you?
I haven't.
It doesn't matter.
You're right. That's what you told me in the middle of it. I was like...
What I mean by that is because I just did a snob on the 2003 Wrong Turn, which I had seen before. I saw it in 2003 when it came out, and I mentioned this in the video, but I do remember when I saw that first one, hating it. I remember really not liking it in 2003. I did. But then when I watched it again here like a week or so ago, I did enjoy it a lot better. And I liked the villains more this time when I watched it, the 2003 one. It was a very standard Hills Have Eyes, Chainsaw Massacre kind of knockoff. But there were good things about it when I watched it again. Like I said, I liked the villains better the second time I saw it. And the makeup was cool. Desmond Harrington's always good. Eliza Dushku was good in the movie. It's okay. It's good for like just kind of a standard movie for the type it is. I haven't seen any of the sequels. I haven't. And judging by the comments on the video, I'm guessing the 6th one is the worst, is what the comments. 6? It goes up to 6.
Jeez.
There's a few prequels. There's a few prequels. So if you're going into this one, this new Wrong Turn, which did get like a theatrical release, I think, like last month, but it just hit VOD a couple of days ago, which is why I did the snob episode on the 2003 one. If you're going into this expecting the further adventures or the remake adventures of Mountain Man, Crazy Mutant Three Finger, who's in all 6 of them, I think. That's not this. That's not the kind of remake that this is. In fact, saying it's a remake is in the loosest of terms.
Yeah.
This is, and you know what? That's good in that means they're doing something different. They're not just doing the first one again, or I'm guessing any of the sequels or prequels. They are. It takes it into a wildly different territory, to the point to where it's kind of an in-name only remake. Like, if this was called something else, you would not be sitting there going, this is a lot like Wrong Turn.
Right.
You wouldn't.
Right.
You wouldn't at all. Halfway through, was it you or Laura said, like, is this anything like the first one?
That was me.
That was you? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, nothing.
Right.
Nothing. It does have the same writer. Alan McElroy is back as screenwriter for this. And so, no, if you're going into this thinking you're going to see Three Finger in this or any of the other characters, no, this is a different beast. It's a wildly different animal. And with that being said, I honestly thought this was better. I actually really love this movie.
I did too.
This
was so good.
Really dug it. Now, there would be instances, depending on my mood, where I'd be like, maybe I'm more so in the mood to watch the first one. Because the first one, yeah, it's by the numbers and whatnot. But sometimes that's what you're in the mood for. You're in the mood just to watch kind of a standard, a movie about these mountain men just going after these 20-somethings.
Right.
This is a lot more intense. A lot more horrifying.
It is.
And a lot more brutal. And you know what? That's the kind of movie it is. And it does it effectively. Yeah. It does it well. It's supposed to be a way more brutal, dark, grittier movie than the other. When you're going into this, think less Wrong Turn and more like a 70s like Wiccan horror film crossed with Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah.
That's the kind of animal you're working with here. And sometimes you're just in the mood to watch something more like the 2003 Wrong Turn.
Right.
But the more that this movie went on, the more impressed by it I was. Because it does a lot of things that I see in remakes and in modern movies that I see other movies do poorly.
Exactly.
Every single one of them in this exceeds your expectations on that. Now, I'll say this. When you pop this up, maybe you'll have a similar reaction watching this as me, where you'll see some tropes that you don't like that will pop up in this, and they will annoy you at first. Give it time. It's gonna pay off. And it's gonna make it worth it. Yeah, you see a lot of movies now that do things that this movie does, but this movie has a style to it and a reason behind it. Yeah, this movie opens up with something later on in the story and then does the 6 weeks earlier thing.
Yeah.
And you and I both, when that happened, we
rolled our eyes. We
really,
groaned.
we're doing this. Now, the more that this story gets into it, whether you like that they did that or not, they're not doing it for a reason of, let's just put something later at the beginning of the movie because people are lazy.
Yeah.
No, there is storytelling reasons why they are doing that. And it does, like, things like the fake out sequence and stuff like that, but is stylish about it and kind of creepy about it when it happens. It makes it worth it when that happens in the first act of it. I was sitting there going, did we really need some of the stuff in the first act? Like them arriving at this small Virginia town and everyone's racist and I was like, all right, let's see where this story goes and everything. You think it's just going to play out in this two-dimensional sense where, like, it's in a small town in Virginia, so they're all racist. No, there's a reason this is happening. Like, at first, in the first act, I was like, maybe they could have cut some of the setup of this out and trimmed it and just gone to them in the woods, but no, storytelling reason, like, it provides backstory on this, and it gives all of these characters a reason for being like this. Characters that you think are starting out just these two-dimensional kind of caricatures aren't. I'm not going to spoil anything, but this movie rewards a lot of different qualms you might have in the first part of it. And when it gets, like, it did start roping me in the second that they get lost in the woods. Like,
agreed.
Where there's some crazy shit that happens with this log rolling down the hill and...
Dude, there's even a jump scare in this movie that's done so well. That it's not the, like, the loud noise ooga booga thing. It actually is.
It's rewarding. It's a good payoff because in a lazier movie, there's a lot of different parts in this film where a lazier movie would have put in some big sting in a lot of different parts in this, whether it's a silhouette looking outside of the tent or someone popping up in the background. This doesn't. This, like, lets this mood set in. And so when you have that scene where you're talking with the snake, right? When you have something like that, it's a good payoff and it's rewarding. Like, it's done for a reason, like a nice little jump for the audience. You can tell that real professionals made this, especially someone like the writer who's been around a long time and has written a lot of different genre films, and he hasn't lost his touch with this. This is one of his best movies. Alan McElroy.
This was directed by Mike P. Nelson, which I know,
different Mike Nelson,
which I did. I asked Brad, is this the same Mike Nelson from MST3K? And he said no, which would have been amazing.
Maybe Mike could direct a movie like this.
That's what I'm saying.
You know how movies work.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he spends years, like, riffing on movies and making fun of movies, and then he just comes up and he says, okay, this is how you do it.
Damn! Mike Nelson's intense. And so, when at the beginning, when it does the earlier thing, I was sitting there going, all right, well, now I know how this is all going to play out and where it leads. Not really. Especially when you go into this, like, with the original in your head. It's going to play out a lot different than the movie you're picturing.
So I hadn't even seen the original. I was just based on, like, so many different tropes and cliches that I've seen. I was just like, okay, you come into it with these preconceived notions based on that, and it just derails all of it.
It's one of the best horror remakes I've seen in a long time.
Well, and I think it's
in
because
a very long time.
And I think it's because, like you said, it's just a remake by name.
It is. It's very different, and they
could have called it something else.
They do reference the first one.
Yeah,
like, and it's
a little nod. It's a little
silly. I'll
quirky,
say that
quirky nod.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, because that at least I didn't know. It is from the same writer, so like you might think at first like, was this originally called something else and then they called it Wrong Turn for name recognition? But they do reference it in this where I guess this is a minor spoiler. I'll try to be as vague as possible here, but you have a character who says they've rented a movie, and they're like, I don't know, it's some horror movie about these inbred mountain men. So they're referencing the first one. So the first one's a movie in this universe. Although it's a little silly because, let me try to word this correctly. Where this happens in the story, I don't know why these people would rent that movie. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess I get that. Yeah, because after,
Yeah, you see what I'm saying. And if you've seen this movie, you know what I'm saying. Like, of all really? Like,
you're gonna rent that?
That. What, was Deliverance checked out? The villains are great in this. Bill Sage is the bad guy here. Okay. He's great. Bill Sage is fantastic in this.
And so once again, you know, you go into this with these preconceived notions, you know, about like people from this small town and everything. You know, what can we say? What can't we say?
Just say you might go into this thinking like it's going to be lazy in terms of some political issues, I guess, like a lesser horror movie, like with the remake. I'm sorry to bring this up again, but I have to. I know we reference this a lot, but the recent remake of Black Christmas. This knows first and foremost to be an effective horror film, to exhibit great horror filmmaking, and not very shallow things that movie was doing. This, you might at first think it's going to go in that direction. It doesn't. It's going to play out. Like it does. And what they do with some of those characters, like in the later act of the movie, I like. Yeah. Man, there's some of those traps in the woods. Yeah. Like it is like you're watching like this kind of American mountain man version of an Italian Amazon cannibal movie, like Cannibal Holocaust, Eaten Alive, Cannibal Ferox, things like that. There is some horrifying shit in this movie. There is. There's parts that I'm like, man, this is gonna stick with you for a little bit. I don't want to give anything away, but like, man, it even goes into some twisted, blood-sucking freaks type territory. I just really, really dug the hell out of this. Same. What grade would you give it? Or did you go first last time, or did I go first last time?
You went first last time.
Did I? So your turn? Yeah. I guess that's how we do
this. Well, then again, what order are you putting these up?
That's a good point. Today we've shot the review for, what was the first movie? Tom and Jerry. And then Scooby-Doo. Naturally, Wrong Turn is the third in that movie. Of course. Like, it just naturally goes in that direction. I'll put this up second. Scooby-Doo I'll put up afterwards.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess in that sense, I'll still go first. Man, I'm going to give this an A. I'm going to give this an A because it was intense. It was exhilarating. It was suspenseful. I mean, I don't know what all words I can use. It was just so good and not at all what you'd expect. Not at all.
No, it's not. And I was leaning towards an A-, especially once everything started playing out in the third act. Like, I mean, I was already digging it.
Mm-hmm.
But then when some issues I had were playing out for the better, and it was consistently impressing me with a lot of different tropes that other movies do bad and I don't like.
Yeah.
And it was consistently doing a lot of that, but really good, and
Agreed.
being a good example of a lot of that's hard to do nowadays. That is very hard to do.
Agreed.
And so because of that, I'm like, yeah, I think I will bump this up from an A- to an A.
Nice.
I'll give it an A, because like it was even that final shot, because like it even to the end, like I'm not giving away how this movie ends, but it reached a point where I was like, I don't know if I'm entirely sold on this ending, but it would still impress me with that, because the final shot of this movie is outstanding.
Yes. Yes.
God.
Just when you think it's over, it's not over.
It's technically maybe the second most horrifying thing I've seen this week, because I did see Edward Penis Hands. And there's an exclusive Snob episode for that. It's not on the main channel. If you go to Google, type in Edward Penis Hands and the Cinema Snob or the Cinema Snob Uncut, you'll find it. So I think this is a movie we liked, so this might be a short review.
Yeah, I know, right? You know, the high reached over 40 today.
And with that, there are this murderous like cult in the mountains, like doing horrifying shit to people. But the weather's nice. Next week is I looked earlier. What's next week? It's not Snyder Cut. That's like mid-March. Next week is I think it's the sequel to Coming to America. Beyond that, I'm not sure. But at least we'll be back next week with the second Coming to America movie. So thanks for watching. Take care.